Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, March the 24th. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. I was there last night to witness the Vancouver Canucks lose 3-1 to Calgary, in essence putting a nail in the coffin of the Vancouver Canucks playoff hopes. Yes, they are mathematically still in the race, but with 7 games to go, they are 6 points behind with 5 teams to pass. See what I did there? 7-6-5. They're 6 points behind Colorado, and that's one of the 5 teams. Obviously, Colorado, Arizona, Minnesota, Chicago, and even Edmonton, the Vancouver Canucks have to pass. So, although mathematically they're still possible, it's very, very unlikely. I'm resigned to the fact that the Canucks will not make the playoffs. But hey, I'm still going to be positive. I'm still going to be good looking, hence the haircut. And I look forward to what the Canucks can do over the last 7 games of the season, building towards next year. And when you look at the big picture, the Vancouver Canucks did what they wanted to do. They've exceeded expectations by a bit of point totals and predictions from experts from across the league at the start of the season. They fulfilled their goal of playing meaningful games in March, as much as maligned as that quote may have been. And I'm really looking forward to the Canucks playing meaningful games in April next year and hopefully beyond. In Calgary, they see a team that they want to be like 3 or 4 years down the road. Calgary is good. 101 points. Vancouver only has 74 points. So that's a 27-point difference, 25 points before the game started last night. Calgary's going to win the Western Conference, so no shame in losing that team. Calgary is strong up front, although the Canucks did a really good job of shutting down their big guns of Kachuk and Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau, of course, is Calgary's fourth line that really did a lot of damage, along with defenseman Mark Giordano. So Calgary's strong up front. They're led on with a really strong decor by Mark Giordano, and then their goalie, the goaltending, is suspect but can be good. Very streaky with Rich and last night Mike Smith, who I'll get to in a second. So overall, the team is poised to go deep in the playoffs. So no shame in losing to that team last night. Vancouver Canucks, they put in a really solid effort. You can't blame their effort. You can't blame their fight and their desire to win. I don't have any qualms with that. And I was there in some really nice seats in Section 116, thanks to my good friend Dan. And, it's too bad that it's unfortunate that he could not join me last night. But alas, I got to spend some quality time with Sean. And we were on TV a lot. Not that we were looking for it, but by virtue of being the third row, up from the glass, just 10 feet from the Calgary bench, there's a lot. Anytime especially on a face-off or anything along those sideboards, you saw Sean and me on TV. So we tried to make sure that we weren't on our phones all night. But overall, good view, of course. But we had a good view of a good game. Started off a little slow, but as the first period picked up and as the game got closer and more highly competitive and highly contested, it was a very entertaining night at Rogers Arena. So you can't blame the Canucks' effort. You can't blame the Canucks' desire and their fight. You can blame their execution and their mental sharpness a little bit. All 3 Calgary goals were due to Vancouver Canucks turnovers. It was breeze ball on the first one that led to the Calgary Flames' first goal. Then it was Luke Schenn with an ill-advised clearing attempt on the second one, and then it was Jake Virtanen's flyby on Mark Giordano on the third one. So we'll see if Jake Virtanen will get sat tonight. I doubt it, but another learning lesson for Jake Virtanen. And against a team as good as Calgary, you simply cannot make those mistakes. They'll make you pay. And sure enough, all 3 goals, like I said, from Vancouver Canucks turnovers. The positives from the Vancouver Canucks, well, you had Brock Boeser with his power play goal. Gave the fans a lot of life. Gave the fans some hope heading, first minute of the third period. Nice shot, deflected off a Calgary player, yes, but nice shot. Extends his point streak to 10 games, which is very good. Elias Pettersson, yet another point to stay on a point-per-game pace. Now he has 8 points in his last 8 games. Boeser has 10 over his last 10. So both those guys playing very well. Bo Horvat, no points last night, but still a beast, winning 75% of his faceoffs. 25 minutes of ice time. So Horvat, once again, being the undisputed leader of this team. But we need more guys than that going, and we could see some potential lineup changes for tonight. But let's talk about tonight's game in a second. Let's talk about Mike Smith. Wow. It didn't affect the game. I'm not going to blame the refs for the Canucks loss because Mike Smith's dive was with 1.5 minutes left. But we saw it happen. I saw it happen right in front of Sean and me. I actually posted a video right after it happened. It's got almost 3,000 views on Twitter now. It was the video of the aftermath of the the scrum, and then Mike Smith mad skating back to his crease to get his mask. But we saw what happened. Puck gets dumped in. Smith wanders out like he likes to do to play it, and then Edler goes in to try and get the puck. Smith turns his back. Edler doesn't even launch himself, doesn't leave his feet, barely pushes him. Of course, there's going to be some contact. Edler's a big guy, Smith's a big guy, and Edler's moving at a good pace. But, he didn't go through his check. He basically pushed Smith in the back. But Smith launches himself. For a big guy, he's pretty light. And wearing all that equipment, he's pretty light. Launches himself about 5 to 6 feet. Definitely knocks his mask off with his glove as he goes. So all you see is this big explosion of hair and Mike Smith and his goalie equipment going towards the boards. It was pretty crazy. Actually, I think the Calgary Flames players didn't also knew it was kind of embellished because no one jumped on Edler and pounded him. Like, that's sometimes what you see. Or maybe the Calgary Flames didn't need to. They knew they were going to win the game. Maybe they're smarter than that. But yeah, there's a scrum. A guy fell on top of Edler, but it's not like anyone was, pounding on Edler at the bottom of the pile or anything like that. It wasn't a dog pile on Edler. It was kind of more of a comical moment. And you see Jacob Markstrom grinning. You see him kind of motioning at Smith. Smith smiling back. Whatever. It was 1.5 minutes left. And it made for, no bad blood, made for more, comic relief and on Twitter and stuff as people were sharing the GIF or GIF, whatever you want to say, or the replay, slow-mo. But it's very impressive work. I don't know if you can rehearse that so well. Like I said, the flop, the arms flaying, the legs flaying, the deft removal of the mask by his own glove, whatever it is. It was a funny night, a funny end to the night. Although after that, kind of scary. Troy Stetcher then takes a puck to the face, but he's really tough, not just because he's from Richmond, but I'm from Richmond. But Troy Stetcher vowed that he'll play tonight, against Columbus. So it's good, and he still honored his after-hours commitment with Scott Oak and Louis DeBrusk, so that was good. So Troy Stetcher, once again, very tough, and it was good. Lindholm took the shot, and he checked on him right away. It was, unfortunately, it was a mean-nothing play, right, with less than a minute left in a 3-1 game. Also, in that last minute, a lot of things happened in the last 2 minutes. We saw Jacob Markstrom give Matthew Tkachuk a slash. I can't say that Tkachuk embellished that because I'm sure it gets hurt to get slashed by a goal stick on your glove. But regardless, very, very eventful end to an eventful evening. So good on Calgary. Good luck to them in the playoffs. Although they're my most hated team, they didn't do anything last night to make me hate them more. Although Mike Smith, should get an Oscar for his dive or his flop. So that was last night. Let's move on to tonight. The Vancouver Canucks host the Columbus Blue Jackets. They host John Tortorella and the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've been in town for a couple of days. I've seen some jokes about maybe Tortorella went back to his Point Roberts home for a couple of days if he still has that home. But yes, the Columbus Blue Jackets are fighting for their playoff lives. They're fighting with Montreal and to get into that final wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. So it wouldn't be crazy if the Vancouver Canucks played a bit of a playoff spoiler tonight against their former head coach, or one of their former head coaches, I should say. There's Willie Desjardins in between. So it's Tortorella, it's Panarin, it's Bobrovsky, it's Zingle, it's Duchesne, it's all their new cast of characters coming to Rogers Arena to try and move back into playoff spot ahead of Montreal. So, what do you expect from Columbus? Well, expect a team that should be desperate. They're either going to play really well or they're going to play really tight. It's probably one of those two things. And in Vancouver, it should be interesting. Now's the opportunity, if you acknowledge that the playoffs are out of the question, and there's a certain thought that now's a chance to see what you got in some players that are either playing for contracts or that you've benched for the last little while. Because there's been a lot of guys that have been sitting out. Up front, it's been Berchi, who's healthy now. Godobin, who's healthy scratch. Spooner, healthy scratch. And then on D, there's Tevez, our brand new acquisition. Derek Pouliot's been sitting out. And then Hutton, Hughes still trying to get in the lineup. So I expect Thatcher Demko to start in net back-to-back. Why not? So put Demko in net. Then on D, do you take out Brisebois, who is -3? Do you take out Sontner or Shen, who had a tough night? Do you want to see Josh Tevez get, at least a game? Maybe now's the time. Because Quinn Hughes is likely going to play next week. So do you go Hughes and Tevez next week? I think it's kind of exciting. You put the all-collegiate pair together. But maybe you see Tevez tonight, and does Pouliot get one more chance before he kind of... I don't think the Canucks are going to sign him. So does he get one more chance, or is he basically done for the year? So that's something to consider on D. Then up front, you have 3 healthy forwards, like I said, who want to play. Berchi, Godobin, and Spooner. I say you get all three of them in, or at least two of them. Definitely get Berchi in as a veteran and as a healthy guy. Let him play for the last 7 games. Goodobin, are you sold on him? If the Canucks are willing to move on from him, then there's no point to play him. If they're still deciding if they're going to extend him a contract offer as an RFA, then get him in for some of these last 7 games. And Ryan Spooner, same thing. They got to figure out what they're going to do with him. 1 more year in his contract, $1.9 million cap hit, I think. Traded for Sam Gagner. Do you know what you have in him, or do you want to see him more? So if you get all 3 of those guys in, I would say take out Granlund, take out Schaller, and take out either Mott or Eriksson. So you could see something like a Horvat, Pearson, Berchi combo. And then Pettersson, Boeser, Levo. Then your third line could be Gaudette, Virtanen, and then either like a Goodobin. And then your fourth line, you put Spooner on there to play with Beagle and Mott. So there's one way you could do it. If you bring Berchi, Spooner, and Goodobin in for Granlund, Schaller, and Eriksson, or Mott. So something to think about. Maybe that's what you do. One other thing, by the way, I forgot to mention that I talked about on Twitter. I heard other people talking about it. Josh Levo had a tough game last night. He hasn't really piled up a lot of points despite playing with Pettersson and Boeser. And he's been able to keep up with them, create space, all those good things. But last night was the one night where I think he really hurt Pettersson and Boeser's game. I can remember 3 or 4 times where offensive forays died on Levo's stick. He might have had a rough night, whatever it is, but yeah, he just wasn't feeling it last night, so hopefully he can bounce back. I think he's still being a great acquisition, probably the best acquisition of this season, so everyone's allowed to have an off night, but that's one thing I noticed too. So, sorry, kind of put that out of order. I meant to talk about that earlier today. So, I'm not saying at all that Josh Levo should come out tonight. So, Canucks fans, lots to look forward to still. We got the game against Columbus. We got a debut of Quinn Hughes likely next week sometime. Maybe we see Josh Tevis for the first time. So we got some things to look forward to, some storylines to watch over the final 7 games of the season. I want to hear from you. What do you think of last night's game? Were you happy with Calgary's effort? Sorry, not Calgary's effort. What am I talking about? Were you happy with the Canucks' effort against a very good Calgary team? What do you think of Mike Smith's dive or a flop? What do you expect tonight from the Vancouver Canucks? Are you excited for the debut of Quinn Hughes? Likely not tonight, but next week. And what Canucks players do you think will make the lineup tonight? And what Canucks players do you think will be sat for those players who make the lineup? And what do we do with all these RFAs? We know Boeser's going to be extended, but what about Granlund? What about Goodobin? What about Pouliot, to name a few? Leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. I'll be going to tonight's game with my lovely wife, Gail. And my collab partner, Marie Huey, is going with her guy, Chris, and their new son, Ronan. So both of us will be there in the same section, not the same row, but very close enough. And these are compliments of the Vancouver Canucks for the latest music video we did. So happy to be there tonight. Not sitting in my regular seats, but watching yet another game. My last home game of the season, actually. So I'm looking forward to being there, albeit in different seats than my regular ones in 319. So if you're at the game, say hello. We're at 101, so maybe I'll see you at the intermissions or on the concourse, whatever it may be. Okay, that's enough. This is a long video. Had a lot to talk about. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.